Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kat, and for today, we are going to be doing an entire face full of just drugstore makeup. I do have two items that are not drugstore makeup, but they are from two indie brands where the pricing is very comparable to drugstores, and so I figured it would be all right for me to throw those in as two additional things to test out. But we are just gonna immediately jump right in. So the first thing that I have is from Flower Beauty, and this is the Supernova Celestial Skin Elixir. So this is a primer. It's super duper pretty with like sort of a pastel purple with some gold flecks in there, and so the directions say to apply it under your moisturizer. So I do also have my moisturizer out here, and we're just gonna throw all of it on the face. So I am very interested to see how this goes, how this smells. Has a bit of a like tangy citrusy smell, which is very interesting, and it has one of those squeezy droppers where you have to like try and squeeze the stuff in there. So we're gonna apply it to the hand, because I'm not about the life of directly to the face. That'll make a mess. Alright, I'm gonna apply it to the face and see what happens. It's supposed to be like one of those illuminating type primers. Also helps to moisturize, but we'll see what it does. Cause okay, my face is very red. I have very sensitive skin, and so kind of any rubbing on my face is gonna cause it to turn red. But this does seem a little bit more red than what I'm used to. Oh, it's not that bad. All right, we're fine. I will also say I barely notice any, like very little of the sparklies, like if anything at all. It is very, very greasy feeling. I can definitely say that right off the bat. It comes across like an oil rather than a primer. And so that is kind of interesting. So I will let this dry for a second, and then I'm gonna throw my moisturizer on, and then we will get into the rest of everything. Man, my moisturizer does not normally feel oily, but I can definitely say that after applying it on top of this guy, my face feels very, very oily. So I already, upon initial application, am not a fan of that skin elixir. So we'll have to see how it goes as we apply things. Given just how oily my skin is feeling, I think it's gonna take a little while for it to kind of dry down a little bit. So I think we will do the eye look first and then apply the rest of the face after that, so that we don't have to worry about me waiting for like 30 minutes for my moisturizer to soak in. So for the eye look, I have a few different products. To start off, it's another Flower Beauty product. I have the Sugar Rush palette, which is a lot of really pretty shades. There's a good number of metallics in there. Definitely more of like your mauve-y type tones. This guy looks like it's a bit of a duochrome with some shift on there, or it might just be a whole lot of sparkle. Either way, I'm not mad at it. The palette does come with like a little blending brush, so there are a good mix of like matte shades to shimmers in here. I definitely think it is leading me more towards a mauve-y look than anything else, because the majority of it is some form of mauve-y purple. So all right, let's just go ahead and jump in with that and see what we come up with and how we like it. First up, I applied a lighter mauve-y transition shade to my crease. And then I went into a second, slightly more reddish purple shade for the inner half of the eye and tried to blend the two together. All right, so after applying the first two shades, I'm already noticing it is very, very minimal pigmentation and very transparent. Even after building it up a good amount, it is just the sheerest of eyeshadows. The blending, I think, is fine. But again, because it's so light, it doesn't take a lot to blend it. So not super duper thrilled with that just already in the beginning. Normally, if I'm gonna go with a mauve-y look, I prefer for it to be a little bit more pigmented, because otherwise, I feel like if it's more of a softer pink look, then I just look like I have pink eye. Which is why I don't lean towards the mauve-y shades that much. But if they're heavily pigmented and I can build it up really nice, then it's at least a bold enough look to where you can't confuse it with pink eye. Next up, I went in with a third shade that was slightly deeper than the other two tones for the back half of my eye. Okay, I'm not entirely certain what's happening right now, but as I'm applying it, it's like it doesn't want to go where I want to put it. That area stays very much just looking like my skin, and then it will just send like clumps of powder elsewhere on my eyelid that I then have to try and blend out. And so now the purple is like all over the place instead of just being on like the back half of my eye where I wanted it. So very odd with what it's doing. And just right off the bat, I hate this already. This eyeshadow is the worst. So it is very, very patchy. The application process is a disaster right now. I'm gonna go in with a different brush and try and apply some shimmers and hopefully figure this out, because as of right now, this is just awful. Okay, packing brush, and we're gonna do some shimmers and see what happens. So I went in with a deeper cranberry shimmer that was in the palette, and after minutes, literal minutes of applying it, someone tell me where the pigment is. Okay, to give you an idea of the fallout on there, my fingers have speckles all over it, my hand has speckles, there's just fallout everywhere. I feel like I'm creating a vampire look. Like this is not for me. Oh my god, I hate this. This is the worst. I'm gonna buff the under eye a little bit so that it at least looks a little bit blended out, and then I'm gonna apply that silverish blue metallic shade, this topper guy, and then maybe this like champagne-y shade as well, and see if that does anything for this. But I legitimately hate my eye look right now, so we're gonna try and see what we can do about that. Okay, well, at least applying that shimmer on top showed up. So maybe going in with the finger for all of the metallics. I don't know. This is awful. I absolutely hate this eye look. This palette is awful. I don't know what is going on with these shades. Like, this is not a good like look for me at all. I look like a vampire. All right, okay, moving on. For eyeliner, I have 3 different shades from LA Girl. These are some of the newer metallic shades that they have. So we've got a green, a kind of turquoisey, like chlorine blue, and then a lilac-y purple shade. What would save this? Well, so the topper glitter that we did was blue, so I think I'm gonna go in with the blue liner on the waterline. See how that goes. All right, so the eyeliner has been applied. My eyes are incredibly irritated right now, just because of the way that that powder was applying. The fallout was just getting all in my eyes, and so that was not fun. And then of course applying a liner to my waterline on top of that. So my eyes are a little leaky right now, but even with that, you can still see the blue metallic is really nice. I'm coming a little bit close so you guys can see what I did on the waterline there. Hopefully a little bit of the shimmer on the top lid is visible. I am not a huge fan of that palette at all. My face is still incredibly greasy feeling, so it's very shiny too, so I'm not a fan of that product. That's the Skin Elixir either. I normally prefer for my skin not to feel oily, and the Murad moisturizer is a very nice light moisturizer, so for me to feel greasy is not normal. But we are going to press on. I have 2 different mascaras for us to try, and so we're going to throw those on. The first one is from LA Girl. It is the Jet Setter mascara, and then I have from my recent makeup swap with Zinnia, I have the Volumizing Lash Paradise mascara from L'Oreal Paris. It's both the primer and the volumizing mascara. So we will do one on each eyelash set to see what we think. Let's start with the LA Girl one, and I will do that on my right eye. Okay, right off the bat, a couple initial thoughts on the LA Girl one. It is very nice and pigmented. Definitely elongates the lashes a little bit. Doesn't get overly clumpy, but I will say that it is definitely a very liquidy formula. Like, it feels very, very wet. And so it probably is going to take a few extra seconds beyond a normal mascara to dry, but went on very, very nice. And this is just with one singular coat, so I'm not mad at that at all. I think that went on really, really nicely. So this is one that I will definitely be using in the future. I do prefer for my lower lash line thinner, more elongated brushes rather than the thicker volumizing ones, just because in that way I can be a bit more precise with my application where I don't have to worry about it getting all over the place. And so this one will probably be one of my upper lash mascaras rather than one for just the whole eye. All right, then for the L'Oreal Paris one, we have to do the primer first. It is very interesting. Okay, I am not used to doing this. I have no idea how to apply a primer. Okay, I don't quite know how long to wait before applying the regular mascara. All right, I think most of the white on there has dissipated, so we will go in with the regular brush now. Definitely has a bit more of a sticky feeling to it, applying this mascara on top of the primer. And so I wonder if that's kind of the same principle as like how that magnetic mascara from Benefit works, because that one also felt kind of like it was yanking on the lashes. So if that helps with like elongating the lash. I will say it is not clumping at all. This is very, very nice how this application went on, and my lashes are definitely nice and long. Yeah, as far as the lower lash goes, I think it's the same principle as with the LA Girl. The brush is a little bit too thick for me to get a nice detailed application. But as far as the top lash goes, with one coat, this is very, very nice. Come in close so you guys can see how it looks. I definitely think both of them have a good amount of color pigmentation where it's a nice deep black shade. I think they both helped to elongate my lashes, but I definitely agree that the L'Oreal Paris one also volumized a bit more, because this guy doesn't quite look as thick, and it looks like there's less eyelashes on this side than what it does on this side. So I really like this. So this is a great gift that Zinnia gave me. I think this is a really nice product. So very pleased about that. Okay, so next up we're gonna move on to foundation, and for that we have the L'Oreal Paris Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. It does have sunscreen in there, so we're just loading up all the sunscreen. I don't know if this is a perfect color match. We will find out. Very liquidy formula. Alright, so upon initial application, I can definitely say that this is a pretty decent color match to me. I think that's awesome. It is definitely more on the lighter coverage side. Definitely not medium coverage by any means. It is pretty light coverage, but not completely sheer either. It is already settling into fine lines like around my mouth. And I just applied it, very much accentuating my pores. I'm gonna give this another go on another day, because since it is such a good color match for me, I would like to see what it looks like if I'm using like my normal primers and moisturizer with that, because I strongly believe that this is only a result of that primer being on my face, because the product, as I was trying to apply it, was like sliding all over my face, was not wanting to blend in very nicely, so it's just kind of sitting on top of my face, which is why I feel like it's accentuating everything and just giving so much texture to my face, is because of that. And so I would like to see what it would look like with a different primer because I think it's just the Flower Beauty primer. I don't think it's the foundation itself that is trying to do this, because especially with how lightweight of a foundation it is, I don't think it should be sitting like this on my face. And so I'm gonna try it another time. So we'll just say it's a first impression of like it's a good color match, and then try again on another day, because this primer is a nightmare. I was having to blend for way too long for it being a light coverage foundation. All right, so the next product up that we have is going to be a second impression from Glam Shop. I have their concealer. I think mainly I wanted to do a second try on this guy because I didn't have any other drugstore concealers that I was trying out. And this guy I'd only tried once like many months ago. And so I wanted to remind myself how I felt about this guy. Okay, I'm glad I tried that one again. It is a very nice lightweight concealer, blended in really, really nicely. It's definitely a bit more of a matte concealer, which given how oily my face is, I'm glad about that. But it also, because of that, is not wanting to blend quite as well with the rest of the face. Just kind of really around the bridge of my nose is the only area where I'm really noticing a blending issue. But as far as like on the under eye, it blended really nicely. And so I think this is a great color for me as well. So I'm really glad I tried that again. I will start increasing that in its rotation. So next up is going to be brows, and for that I have another LA Girl product. This is the Shady Slim Brow Pencil, and this is in the shade Taupe. Always good as you're brushing your brows into place to realize that you really need to tweeze. All right, here we go. Alright, so few initial thoughts. The shade is definitely not quite the shade that I normally go with. I prefer a bit more of a cool toned, like dark blonde shade. This is a bit too warm toned for me. And so it just doesn't quite mesh with my brow shade as well as I would like. It is a very creamy consistency, so I would say it's not quite as dry as like the majority of brow pencils are. It's a bit of a softer formula, and so for blending purposes that's nice, but if you're trying to just like stipple in like very much precision type stuff, you're gonna find that it smudges a bit more than you would like. Next up we have from Alamar. This is the Hydrating Complexion Trio that I had mentioned in my declutter of face products, and I really wanted to try this. We're gonna go in with the bronzer and then the highlighter. So these are the shades that we have to work with. So I'm gonna use this guy as my bronzer, and then this guy as the highlight. And then we also have a blush product as well. Probably coated my brush way too much. Deeper consistency than I was expecting. I thought this was going to be super bright, like super light. I definitely thought it was not going to be quite as deep of a consistency. So this is nice. I can actually create a bit of a glow then. I got some mutton chops going on right now. Well, that is great news. This product blends out really, really nicely. So that's awesome. So if you do go in with a bit too heavy of a hand, like I did, you can see that it is able to be blended out. And so you don't have to worry that like your whole face look is going to be a disaster just because you put a little bit too much product on. Like this is already blending out really, really nice. I think now that like I'm getting the rest of the face products on, I'm okay with the eye look. I think it's just like, as far as like ease of use, I'm never going to use that palette again. But I think I can live with the eye look as it is right now. I think that's also part of why I've gotten a little bit more in the habit of doing my face prior to doing the rest of my eyes, just because that way I'm already like thinking, oh, I already look pretty. And then I'm less likely to hate the eye look, even if it's not something that is like my favorite. I will at least be tolerable because I'll be like, well, the rest of my skin looks nice. And this bronzer is a delight. Like, this is a really nice glow I've got going on. I'm not mad at this at all. All right, okay. So we'll do blush first, and then we will go in with that highlighter shade at the end. So for blush, I have from Moira Cosmetics this gorgeous ombre blush. Look at that. I'm gonna bring it in close. Look at that etching on there of that butterfly with the flower. Just absolutely gorgeous. I think it's so pretty, so detailed. Like, I don't even, there's a part of me that's like, I don't want to use it because it's so, I'm probably just gonna get a second one that I can just keep and like not use because it's so pretty. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're gonna lightly tap into it. What am I saying? I'm heavy-handed. I'm not lightly tapping. This is my bra. Look at that bra. This is gonna be fine. I don't even give a shit if it looks nice or not. It doesn't matter. It is gorgeous. All right. that is hot pink. I am not mad though. We'll see how it blends. That's a bright cheek. I mean, hey, it goes with the eye look, right? Let's be real. That eye look is something else. If anything, this just makes me look a little more alive. All right, I'm gonna take my sponge and lightly pat that. This is a trick that I use if I go in a little heavy-handed with stuff and the brush isn't quite blending it out the way that I want. I'll go in with my sponge that still has a little bit of the remnants of foundation on it and just lightly tap over it to blend it out a little bit more, and that seems to usually work really well. Yeah, you can see it's kind of taken a little bit of the edge off of that pinkness, and so now I'm just left with a really nice blush tone on there. Very nice. All right, we're gonna go back in with the highlighter, a very light highlight, okay? See what it does. It's not quite doing what I was expecting it to do. It looks almost more like translucent powder rather than a highlighter, because I'm not really feeling like I'm getting highlighter out of this. Yeah, I think it's, so it doesn't have really much of a shimmer with it either, and so I think it's just a matte kind of transparent setting powder, so that's probably why I'm not seeing anything. Let me see if I can go find another highlighter that I haven't tapped into yet that we can maybe layer on top real quick. Okay, so I did end up grabbing a different shade of the Makeup Revolution highlighter that I had decluttered in my highlighter collection video. So this one is a little bit more of a lighter champagne-y shade than the one that I had before that was more goldish, like a deeper gold. And so let's give this guy a bit of a dabby dab, see what it does. Yeah. Well, that's a bit more of the shimmer than I was expecting. Oh yeah, that's real nice. I would imagine this is one of those ones where if you went in with your finger, you could definitely have it be significantly more built up, but just going in with a brush and lightly dabbing, you just get a really nice kind of soft glow. So that's a really nice one. I'm glad that I grabbed that shade instead. And so I think for the Alamar, I probably would have been happier if I just had the bronzer on its own, this particular shade, because I really enjoy the formula of the bronzer. It blended out really nicely, but that lighter shade, I don't use like matte highlighters. I prefer to have a nice shine, and so I use more of this type. So I really like this product, but I think that the lighter shade in the Alamar palette I probably would never use again, so it's really just one shade out of a trio that I would end up using, which is probably why I have a tendency to declutter face palettes unless like I religiously use all of the shades within the palette, because otherwise it's just kind of like, meh, I'd rather give it to someone that will actually use all three. The blush, I think, is a little bit too pigmented for my liking, which is fine because that just means I won't get a second one and I will just keep this one intact because it is absolutely beautiful. And Moira Cosmetics does have also several other types of blushes, And I had recently picked up a duo that has 2 different blush shades in there, so I'll be using that in an upcoming video as well. So I might end up enjoying that formula a little bit more. Okay, so now the only thing left is for us to do a lip, and I have 2 products for us to try out. From BH Cosmetics, I have this So Extra lip gloss, and this is more of a matte lip gloss in kind of like a burnt rose shade, which is the shade Caffeinated. It is a very thick and chunky doe foot. Alright, so this is just a pretty nice light cream gloss. Add like ever so slight of a pigmentation on there. So very, very pretty. I think it goes well with the whole face. It's just really nice on the mouth. It's zero stickiness whatsoever. It just feels like a smooth, very lightweight gloss. Like there is zero tack whatsoever. So your mouth just feels a little bit like it's a little bit wet, but no stick whatsoever, which is just really nice. Like, how often do you get a gloss that doesn't have any stick? All right, and so the other thing is that we have a holographic gloss topper from LA Girl. So I'm gonna add ever so slight of a dab of that just in the center to see how it looks. All right. You can already see the purple shimmer on there. All right, so that just added a little bit of a highlight into the center of the lip. I think that that is a super fun topper shade. Definitely depending on how the light hits it, you either get purple or pink or a little bit of a yellowish gold kind of look. So that's really, really enjoyable. I'm not a huge fan of like the tubes for lip products. I do prefer like the closed plastic canisters, but this is really, really pretty. Ooh, it does have also a little bit of a green as you look at the shift. So I would imagine depending on what kind of lip product you're putting on underneath, it's gonna bring out different tones of the topper. So that is really, really fun. I would love to know what you guys think of everything. Have you guys tried out any of these products, had different results, similar results? Let me know either way. Are there any other drugstore brands that you are wanting to have me check out certain products from? Let me know. I can definitely do that. And if you made it to the end of the video and you have not yet subscribed, I would love it if you could kick a subscribe my way. Come join my family on here. We do lots of colorful makeup, talk about indie brands. I do different reviews on drugstore and luxury brands on occasion as well, give you my first impressions on those. So either way, come join my family on here. We have awesome discussions and would love for you to join in on those. And other than that, you guys just go have a good one.